Okay. Okay. Now I see why it's new. All right. Hello, guys, and welcome. What? How did you do? Did you buy a background for that winter?
No. What the heck?
Put it back on. Put it back on. Don't do that. Put the pillow back on. That's amazing.
No.
It was so well done. Come on, Winter. It was double. Okay, whatever. Welcome back to the DPC. For very professional broadcast of the DPC, DPC. We have a pillow-wearing maniac in Winter. We have Euro here for this panel, and we have two teams, Thunder, Awaken, and Tempest, who are going to be duking it out to see who can take these points home. Tempest, who's still in a position not only to avoid relegation if they get this point, but more importantly to potentially go to the major because they're actually still kind of okay in terms of points. And Thunder Awaken, who desperately needs points after they lost against Infamous at the beginning of the season and might have lost that potential major slot, or will be forced to go tiebreakers against Beast Coast. Who knows? It's SA. Anything can happen. Winter, I know you're an expert on both these teams. What would you say? Who would you think is favored here?
Thunder Awaken.
Okay, great. Good job.
Yeah, I think that I think Tempest has some very interesting picks, certain in some of their games. But if you look at the macro game, how they're gonna play their lanes and their decision making, going into the mid game, the rotations, like they're obviously not as good as Thunder Awaken in that department. But we'll see. Maybe they can pass up some Hutch carry. They can turn the tide around.
Would you agree with that assumption, Rayur?
Kinda. I think Thunder is obviously the favorite from South America, but after they got back from the major, I don't think they are that good since they dropped a series for Infamous. But I think they have a pretty solid game. They know they have clear ideas on what to do, what they like, what they don't like, and they have the Pakaz element, who is a fucking beast at the game.
True.
So I'm pretty excited to see this match, especially because Tempest showed off against Wolf Team and just they're doing quite well. I think they're trying to establish a game for them, to get know each one better, the draft and stuff like that. So it's a pretty hype series for me.
Yeah, let's start with a Tiny again, a Tempest staple. This is one of the interesting picks you were talking about, Winter. They're always first picking Tiny.
I think it suits their support player Sladin. The way he plays, like he I think he excels on a Tiny 4 or the other hero, Marcy 4. He likes to rotate around, set up kills, likes to go mid a lot. I think the recipe for success for them is like to get a matchup where the Tiny can rotate to middle, assuming the Tiny is a 4, and the matchup allows kills to happen easily.
Yeah, I can see that point. Sladin is one of the few players who's forcing the 4 Tiny all the time, so you're really on point with that. They don't flex it as much as maybe they should.
The last game that Sladin just played Tiny 4, he kind of feeds. I don't know. I feel like if this hero doesn't have a good lane, the hero it's trash because he doesn't get anything to farm the dagger fast. And if I'm not wrong, the last game I see him playing Tiny, he just feed a lot. I think it was against Beast Coast.
That's why you want to lane him with like I know Snapfire's banned, but you kind of want to lane him with a strong hero in the lane so that it solves that weakness. Because Tiny itself in the laning phase is he's not that great. He's okay. Sometimes you pull some waves. You get a level 2. But if your lane doesn't match up well against the enemy's lane, usually you don't really get too much done in the laning phase, and you just want to ditch and leave the off laner alone. And he's like mouthing, he's mad, but what can you do? You're Tiny.
He's picking you.
I think Thunder just gave Tiny a good game with Weaver and Abaddon pick. Abaddon is bad against Tiny, and Weaver is a really squishy hero.
Is that a carry Weaver for them?
I think it's offlane. Sacred does like the offlane Weaver.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing Pakas playing Weaver carry, but I think this guy has a vast.
I remember someone played a really good Weaver carry the other day. I think it was, or maybe it wasn't this guy. It was Infamous, right? Parker.
Yeah, I think so too.
Someone drafted a carry Weaver.
It was versus Dusa, right? I think they played against Dusa, and we were
Oh,
surprised how good it was. Yeah.
I think this hero is super weak after they changed the status resistance from Satanic and Sanjayasha, because Weaver just spams these two items and he was like a god on every single match. So after they just changed the status resistance, the hero seems like it's weaker, you know? Depends too much on levels, depends too much on the matchup. Most of the carry matchups, it's bad for the hero. That's why I think we are not seeing Weaver carry a lot nowadays.
No, but in Western Europe, they're trying it a lot, actually. There's a fair amount of Weaver carry in Western Europe. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Division 1 and Division 2. But in this case, it's 100% off layer. I just want to point it out. It's
the way you pick the Weaver here, like the way I understand it is like because they first pick a Tiny, right? And I think Weaver is very good against a Tiny core, if Tiny is a core. Maybe that's the reasoning behind the response here after the first pick Tiny.
Yeah, that's true actually.
Weaver offlane? Good against Tiny?
Yeah, just Weaver in general. I think in the game against a core Tiny, because the Tiny has very shitty attack speed. It takes a long time for him to kill the bug.
Yeah, that's a fair explanation. I agree. The bug, it's a mess for Tiny.
They really just love the Weaver offlane, guys. They've been doing this for like 2 seasons. They just think it's kind of broken. In fact, Sacred said, and I quote, because I got to interview him both in the Major and here, and he said here, the only reason why he's playing Weaver carry is because Weaver offlane is because people don't know how to play against it in lane. And he just wrecks lanes, right? And in the Major, he stopped playing it because he's like, people here are good enough to beat Weaver offlane. And that was really it. He told me in both sides. So they're just back to it. They're adapting to the SA meta. We'll see what the option is here for Tempest, though, because they go for the Pango. Is Pango just a mid laner these days, guys? What is your saying? Right, you're?
We're seeing this hero. We're not seeing this hero in the offlane nowadays. I think it's because we have better options on the offlane, and you kind of don't want a Pango to go Wraith Pact and the stuff they are building now on the offlaners, you know? You want him to get the Dagger, the Diffusio, in some cases Maelstrom. So I think it's a mid lane. We are seeing sometimes Pango 4, but most of the time it's just the mid lane. I think it's because of this.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. It does weaken the Pango pick though early a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the roll up nerf is also a pretty big deal for him.
Yeah, I think that was the bigger. Yeah.
That's why you don't see him so much.
The Abaddon pick though, where you were criticizing earlier because you were not that big a fan of it. Can you explain a little bit more? Thunder does love the Abaddon 5.
Considering that Tiny's core, Abaddon is not good against Tiny because he can never cover the hero who's getting combo by Tiny. And Tiny can just proc the ulti really fast from Abaddon. So it's lame to play against Tiny with Abaddon. When we used to play on Tertus, we love to see Abaddon against Tiny. So
okay. Right.
That's my explanation.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I feel like Thunder is specialized in saves, though, Winter. So how could they utilize this Abaddon and Weaver to the best potential? What hero do you give Pakas, in your opinion, right now?
Ideally a hero with stuns, because this tool doesn't have any disables. You need to have other heroes that have a lot of lockdown to compensate that.
Right.
I mean, I feel like the Abaddon Weaver is like Abaddon allows the Weaver to play ultra aggressive, even though it might not be as good against the Tiny. But at the same time, I feel like this duo, it still works together, you know. Weaver likes to have a save behind him so that he can always cast his ulti off and he can play ultra aggressive.
Oh, it's very interesting. They go for a DP Void. It's been forever since we see this.
I hate the time dilation as Abaddon. GG.
Yeah,
yeah, Void is really good this game. It's excellent against Abaddon, Weaver, and the Ember Spirit. Maybe we're going to see Ember 4. I've seen Matthew playing the 0.
What is this? Is this C Games Ember 4? Wow. They also do Ember 4, this team?
Yeah. We see a couple times.
Yeah, they've done it for a while. I know C teams claim to invent all the weird 4 picks, but you know, SA also. If you play SA pubs, you will see Ember 4 for sure.
I see Troll 4.
Yep, that's true actually. Most
Excuse
cores
me,
played as
troll?
4s.
What do you even
Yeah,
do as troll for?
Troll 4.
Nothing good.
You're a troll, right? What?
Alright. Lesh picked up here for Thunder Awaken, so it does seem like it's a Matthew Ember, because Lesh is most likely for like Malo here. Bakaz does play it, but less commonly. What's the strike of the Lesh though? Is it to
What's the
match the
reason?
DP push? Yeah, why?
I'm trying to figure out why they actually picked the Lash. Is it just for the laning phase, or what is...
I think they need tower damage. Lash helps.
Mm.
And it's okay against Pung on the lane and against Tiny. He won't suffer too much from Void because probably he's going to use this game, especially because I have DP. And you always want to play Lash with a saver, like Abaddon,
Yeah,
Oracle, Wisp, and it's a pretty decent game for Lash when you have these covers. Lash almost play free, you know? And they are just protecting the Lash now. They're just banning Puck and Invoker, make sure no one giving a hard game.
Yeah, but then what is it like? Do they think it's DP5 then?
DP offlane, maybe? Is it DP offlane?
DP offlane.
Yeah, but then what's the
offlane,
5?
And
That's-
Tiny 4. They're going to last pick the 5, maybe.
Yeah, that's a chance.
I don't think it's that bad, you know? Sometimes the draft just scales to that. You just pick the position 5 on the last pick.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
that bad.
Pick
Thunder
some,
does not agree with that though.
I mean, it's possible. They can do DP5 for sure and pick another core. But at the moment, I like DP laning with Tiny because I think Tiny needs the DP.
If they pick DP5, the game's going to be strange because they're lacking some stuns. They have the Chrono, of course, the Avalanche, but I don't know. It feels weird. The lane phase is going to be weird.
Yeah. I think they just
They
need a
have the
5. They just need a 5 like A and throw spells in the Chrono. I would like to have that, or Lich. Something like that.
Yeah?
Damage
don't
on
need
the Chrono
stuns?
would be good.
Lich AA? Is that the heroes you're thinking about? Anything that has damage? Do you don't need stuns then? Winter?
They have Tiny, Pango, Void, kind of. I think good enough.
Okay.
Stun. If you compare it to Thunder Awaken's drafts, the first 3 years have no stuns at all. All right, Grimstroke.
Man, I was going to say Grim. I swear to God. I swear to God.
Grim is
Believe
very, very good against Abaddon. Very, very good. And the Weaver.
Mhm. Yep. Grim Lane's pretty strong. Grim Pango's pretty good too. Some good combos. Nothing too double though.
Yeah.
It's good on the game against Weaver and Abaddon. The silence it's really annoying.
Yep.
They have too many silence for Abaddon this game. Abaddon is going to suffer a little bit. They have the silence for DP and the green stroke. You need to be careful. And the time dilation from Void.
Yeah, he's gonna have a very, very, very
Abaddon's
tough
going
game.
to suffer this game.
Oh, it's
So what's the
okay.
carry then?
He's a support. He can take one for the
Yeah.
team.
What's the carry then, Winter? What would you like it? If he's taking one for the team, what's the carry that carries into victory?
Pushing carry. I don't know if they play LD, some sort of pushing hero. They need a tank that can push. Like, I mean, I know Wraith King isn't picked that much, but I think Wraith King could be ideal here. LD is
I
fine
think
too.
Morphling is pretty decent too this game.
Morphling, oh yeah, there's a tiny Morphling. Then you can steal his splash damage. That could be good too. Wow.
There you go. What a call. Great job, panel. Together, you can guess one pick in the draft. Okay, so we see the full drafts now. I'm gonna ask Hero, you're first. What draft tickles your fancy?
I'm going with Thunder this game. I really like when Pakas is playing Morphling, and
Okay.
I enjoy the Lash playing free with Abaddon. I'm kind of scared with Tempest draft because Abaddon is going to suffer a little bit, but I'm with Thunder this game.
Winter?
No. I think Abaddon won't be so useful. They have an Ember position for. I think Tempest is gonna if the laning phase go well for them. I think they're gonna take this game. I think their draft is just easier to execute, more all rounded, and they have what it takes to win this game one.
Okay. Let it be stated for the record, Rayor is deciding to take up for the Awaken. Winter says there's no way this draft could win. Impossible. He would bet his life savings on this. Is he going to be right? We're going to have to see as we go over to the casting pair, Epulze and SeeknStrike. Thank you, Alpha Winter. He's really went all in this game. It's crazy, honestly. I hope for his sake that Tempest wins.
I don't think they're going to win, to be honest. I see one thing here, right?
Immediately.
I see last pick Pacaz on Morphlane El Prohibido, and it's like, dude, what can you even do against that if you're Tempest, honestly? To be fair, they've got some decent solutions, right? They've got a tiny Grimstroke, right? As long as you set him up with a stun, the Phantom's incredibly annoying, potentially. I agree with Winter. I don't think Abba's good at all this game, like, at any stage. He's pretty heavily countered, to be honest. Like, it is not easy for Thunder, and I think so they're certainly up against a very difficult draft. But I still think they're going to get it done. I mean, it is a very Thunder draft, right? You've got the offlane, not Morphlane, you've got the offlane Weaver, the position 4 Ember. Like, these are classics of Thunder. Position 5 Panda on Abba. Like, what more do they need? What more do they want?
Yeah, conceptually, also, this draft works pretty well, right? You have like Mago and a hero that, like, doesn't matter how he does early, but have a useful mid game, right? Usually like a space query that's a little bit greedier, so that's good. You have thousands of saves, which is what they usually like to draft. You know, one on Panda, one on Sacred, it's very common. Sometimes one extra on Matthew, and then you got Pacaz, and then Pacaz just kind of carries the team. And I agree with you. You know, I feel like this is a team that you evaluate their drafts, and because you're evaluating like a normal Dota draft, as again the game is paused, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, again the game
Just,
is paused here. We have 2 disconnects here from Tempest.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So you evaluate this draft and you evaluate like a normal Dota draft and you think, what's happening, right? It looks like my SDA pub. But at the same time, it's just kind of like the way Thunder Awaken proposes the South American like meta, right? They always approach it where they're a better team, I think, than... They're definitely the best team in South America right now, macro, I would say. Even with the loss against Infamous, they're definitely best team at like reading the map, pressuring properly. I'd say this is probably the second best team in South America at spellcasting, right? With Beast Coast being on top because, you know, mentioned. But also, kind of beating Beast Coast at spellcasting is impossible. They're probably one of the top 3 teams in the world at doing that. They just suck at almost all the other aspects. And Thunder Awaken, as a result, can get away with a lot more. And drafts that are more difficult for them don't seem as difficult when they're just superior to their opponents. I think it's the reality for both them and Beast Coast. Maybe Infamous also fills that category. But they're the 3 teams that I think get away with more than other teams.
I'll tell you what, Roy, we've said this a lot, especially because you and I have casted together a lot of Division 2 Dota games. There's a lot of value in getting comfort picks. Like, as far as Thunder are concerned for this draft, like, they got everything they wanted, right? Like, they're on very comfortable heroes, and that's wild when you look at what Tempest have drafted. But, like, let me focus on Tempest draft, right? Because we spoke a lot about Thunder. I think Tempest, they will have damage issues early on inside of Chronosphere. Like, yes, Chrono is an incredible tool versus a Morphlane and a Weaver early, but I just don't see how they actually managed to find kills early, as we did get unpaused Alvaro and immediately back into a pause here, as Tempest do need an extra second. But I just don't see these early Chronos being too useful. Do you want to go back to cams? It seems like this is only going to be a second, according to Thunder.
I just don't want to mistake. Okay, good. I'm just double checking. I don't want another one of those like flashes on stream. Yeah. Anyway, I would agree with you. I think that what you point on Division 2 is very important. I think people also underestimate the importance of execution in today's Dota. Like we're like, oh, Dota players got so good and they can read the map and all these strategies, whatever. But OG pretty much won like 3 out of their 4 matches in the run and the major out of execution alone. I don't think they had a better strategy or anything like that. They just were better at playing team fights. And
yeah, I just think you need like a way of getting yourself in the game, right? As the admin here is asking Pacaz to please reactivate his camera, just for those who are curious on what's going on in the chat.
Oh, what's interesting is that he said, they didn't say please. He said, Pacaz, like, do me a favor, reactivate your camera. Like he is not strong enough to go and say please. He's just asking Pacaz, begging him, in fact, for the camera to be reactivated.
Well, back onto your point about execution, right? I think that it is a viable strategy for teams so long as they have a way to play and execute. Like, a lot of times teams are like, oh, we'll just pick our favorite well, sometimes, right? Not a lot of times. Sometimes teams will pick their favorite heroes, and then just get kind of completely counterpicked, like 5 counterpicks, and it's like there's no way to play this game, guys. Like you lose from the laning stage, and sure, maybe you have this like really cool global lineup, but like you know, if there's like a global silence that doesn't allow anything to happen, like what are you gonna do, for example? Whereas Thunder, the reason I bring up the Chronosphere and lack of damage specifically in Chrono is because that's going to give time at least for Weaver to play around and have a little bit of fun in the early game. That'll buy time for Morphling to maybe get an item, maybe 2 because it's Pekka's online, and then from there he can maybe carry this game for them, right? Like, yes, it is a scary Morphling game, but with Manta style, it's considerably less so, for example.
Okay, so now they're taunting each other.
Hará ver, guapo.
Sacred said Chipiladim, which is a pun on Sladin's name, calling him he's a small member. And then Sladin got angry and said, activate your camera so I can watch you, you beautiful. And then Darkmao says, not this one, I'll do this. And now they're insulting each other and calling each other ugly.
Yeah, vamos 1-0, go to lobby. Darkmao joking, of course, Etakeke, which is a GG call in Russian, I believe.
Thunder. I will say Thunder is probably the most community-based. Oh my god. Thunder is probably the most. Yeah, that means your cat lost you because of negligence, which is euphemism, which I won't translate. But
okay.
Anyway, Thunder is probably the most community-based team. I don't know if you've ever seen their comms, but this is like this team, like they kiss each other all the time. They have a lot of like emotional moments on the stream. It's
They're great.
It's a team of brothers.
I really enjoyed hanging out with them in Stockholm. I'll only tell one story
like
here.
Each other.
They're great to hang out. I mean, genuinely. I'll bring up one story here. Perhaps I've got a couple more. I feel like now I can be like, oh, when I was at the major and when I was with the SA boys, it was Panda's birthday actually at the Stockholm major, right? And there was this like players lounge over in the hotel where there was like everyone was kind of just hanging out. It was like during it was a day they weren't playing, but there was still a couple of teams like hanging out in the player lounge. And Thunder, as they are wont to do, they brought in a paella, right, or a cake for their position 5 Panda. Beast Coast was there for sure because I believe Chris Luck. There's a little bit of a tradition in SA birthday celebrations where you basically just bully the birthday person, usually boys only, right? I've never seen this happen to women or
that's
girls.
normal everywhere though.
Yeah, and you just kind of jam the face or their face into the cake, right, or vice versa.
No, that's a Panda thing. Usually you like pull their ear, or like you like make fun of them. It was just Panda.
No, mate, I've had my face shoved into plenty of cakes when I was growing up.
Yeah, but it's not a tradition. It's just your friends are like that. Like I'm sorry to tell you, but
or your family.
There's no cultural.
And
okay,
for
fine,
these guys,
there's no cultural aspect. It's just
the line certainly played. No, that was definitely normal. It was definitely I could tell for sure. Panda was half expecting it, and his only disappointment was that the cake was actually pretty good according to him for whatever he licked off of his face.
Yeah, he wanted to lick his whole face off. Yeah, I remember that. He was telling me all about it. He was very excited to eat the cake.
They're all very close, and it was really cool to kind of see that bond in person here. As we'll see here how they can attempt to get through what is going to be a difficult mid to early game, right? Lots of for Thunder, I would say, right? Sacred's got to make a little bit of space. Same thing here for the Lash. I think they can get it done, right? It's not impossible, but you know, if they don't at least get some way to create space early on, I just don't see how Pekka's carries this for them. He needs a little bit of time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think the early game, though, with Lash and Weavers was kind of okay. Especially Weaver's lane is pretty strong.
I'd say so,
yeah. Have to be careful with Pekka's. Pekka's doesn't have anything. He's just fighting Draken head on. That's not the best choice. I do feel like the lane for Weaver, time dilation is a nuisance if you're like a support Weaver. But core Weaver is more around the... well, you're a ranged offlane, right? So you hit things. So time dilation is not a big nuisance against the Shukuchi, because rarely you're going to commit for the Void. Rarely will you need Shukuchi constantly, and there's not much kill potential with just the Grimstroke. Yeah, you see, there's the time dilation, Sacred just moves back, and it's fine.
It's good for Matthew, though, who's going to... Oh, well, actually, it's not too long of a duration on time dilation, fortunately, level 1.
Yep. I don't think you can max it, though, this lane. Sometimes Voids will go for the maxing against, like, a really good time dilation lane, but I don't think this is the lane to do it. Yep. You got to max the time lock.
I would agree. Of course, for fans that have tuned in for plenty of Thunder games, this Matthew position 4 Ember is nothing new. But of course, one of my favorite strengths is that it feels impossible to pull against or really do any creep lane equilibrium shenanigans against an Ember position 4. He's just always going to be able to re-aggro creeps if he needs to.
Yep. It's pretty strong laner, surprisingly. When we first saw it, we were kind of dubious as to what it could do, but the lane is surprisingly good, especially with side of fist buffs. Usually it goes for the Blightstone or Urber Corrosion in general early, and that helps him out a lot. So it makes it difficult to trade as well with him. If he finds a lot of damage on the enemy side, he just goes for 1 or 2 points in Flame Guard to also harass. Like, it's a lot of utility. But the ideal build is usually the 2-3 build. That's
Agreed. And the one thing I would add is I think for Matthew, especially in the context of a position 4, the slight cast range nerf of 50 units, which is not negligible, but more important if you're a mid laner or a safe laner, doesn't really affect him too much in the laning stage. I mean, he's like doing this to avoid an auto attack and get extra damage out, so the cast range doesn't really mean much to him as a nerf anyway.
Yeah,
it's the only adjustment to Ember Spirit, I believe. And here you go. Like, how do you contest? Like, Ember is just in your face at all times. Let's see if he can Sleight of Fist dodge this. He does. Nicely done. Impressive.
Yeah, I like that Matthew decided to go for the Sleight of Fist on creeps to get more time, right, in the Sleight of Fist, as opposed to the single Sleight of Fist on the Grimstroke. That's why he actually attacked behind him, just to make sure the dodge happened. He still has a lot of magic 1 charges, so it would have been fine no matter what, but... Yeah. Oh, whoa, they just took his last hit. The Harpy was like, I'm gonna zap this last creep. Okay. That wasn't necessary. Why are the creeps against him? Like, what triggered that zap?
I have seen the creeps get a little bit more, antsy these days. Now that I get to play a little bit more back at home. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is really funny whenever the small creeps start doing things. Normally, they don't really do much at all. They are setting up for a kill here onto Cat-U. Matthew's not going to be able to body block the whole entrance, but he doesn't need to because he's got the kill. Kotaro can't do much here with only an Inkswell buff, so he's just going to time walk back into lane.
Yeah, this is a rough lane to fight into. If you are Tempest, you acknowledge that because of Void's existence, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be out-farmed necessarily, but you don't have much kill potential. Your support is at the mercy of the enemy team, and 1 point in the swarm is all they need to start setting that up.
Matthew, careful here. Swan keeps him alive. Fairy Fire as well. Wow. Yeah, I thought maybe Kotaro had that as well, to be honest. But no, he was misjudged.
This magic wand has become so popular for cores these days, and I feel like this item is being really underestimated by some people. You have 15 charges, there's no way you're killing Matthew.
Yeah, no, certainly not. Let's take a look at over the mid lane, right? Something I always like to kind of examine and take a look at is this Lash skill build. 203 with more buffs to Lightning Storms, quite recently, of course. Sorry? More fights?
Sorry, never mind. They let him go. Yeah, they almost sniped Matthew here, actually. Matthew almost got killed by the Void there.
It's going to be A-okay for now. Oh, as mid lane Dark Mago is nearly dying himself. Matthew TP's on over on no HP. Did not connect here, unfortunately, on the Searing Chains. Sliding safely up to the high ground. But Mago with 2-0 and 3 now the point on the ulti here. So no points in the Edict. Can't quite threaten for a tower push. Seeing a little bit more of this now. Lots of cores favoring the Lightning Storm because of the buffs it's gotten, I assume. 1 extra target. And a little bit of damage buff as well, having been rescaled once you do get it to higher levels.
Yeah, I am surprised by... Oh, Matthew might just get caught here, actually, with Swashbuckle, so I think we'll kill him. Well done. I am surprised by the lack of demo allocate in general, because I feel like now as Lesh, you don't have that option to, push tower. So, Pango usually a pretty good rotate on level 6. You kind of lost that ability to punish him. If that Mago mimics that rotation, what does he do? Nothing, right? So...
I've got a feeling that it has something to do, and I've got to watch way more Lush's mid and maybe look at some older replays to be sure. It's got to have something to do with, like, the range creep or something. Like, 3 points in Lightning Storm, like, you guarantee range creep no matter the lane. Something like that, thanks to the buffs.
It could be. I mean, there's something there, I agree, that's, like, deviate a lot of Lush. I've seen it much more these days, I agree.
Yeah, it's going to be like one of those kind of small things that does add up in the context of a pro match like this, especially when you're 39-4. Wow, that was like 4 bashes in a row on a Sacred. That's what the tip is for. He just got bashed like 4 times. Sacred was full HP when he returned to lane and was half HP all of a sudden. That was quite funny.
That's level 3 time block at least, so it's more justified. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like conceptually, though, changing the way Lesh is played into more of a lane dominator that deals a lot of magic damage as opposed to this early pusher does make it easier for teams to deal with, honestly. I just don't think he's good at mirror rotations, which is his biggest weakness. And if you can't like, push the tower as a result... I will have to see how this goes. As Caillou dies, by the way, top lane. Not a big deal, just to support. Sacred is going for the easy kill here. Has earned, though.
Yeah. Oh, good toss back, though, onto the middle lash. Dark Mago's going to have to tank a couple tower shots. That's a lot of damage on the Max Swashbuckle, but Panda's here. No fear.
Yeah, this is the Panda play, where you like, oh, Dark Mago is he's diving again. All right, let me TP and save him. He's gonna
diving. You know. He got tossed. Don't do him like that. But yeah, I mean, I think the lane dominating build is a little bit like being more favored seemingly with the buffs to Eternal Shroud and Bloodstone. Like, it seems like this style of Lesh, because of the items specifically, are a little bit better, right, to play. It seems more efficient naturally when you can build to buff that style.
I can see that. So, like, you're talking the Lesh being more of a win condition, more than like an early space creator by pushing.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. I can see that.
Yeah, more than like bots. No, he didn't go for bots actually, right? More than bots, you go for like early Yules, perhaps, which he did have queued up, but he's switched up, for example.
There's Eternal Shroud that we talked about, or that you just talked about. Sorry. Well, I'm assuming that's Hood into Eternal Shroud. I wouldn't know why you would just go Hood this game.
Yeah. I mean, I think Eternal Shroud's just so good. It's like the dream item for Dark Mago, isn't it? It helps you live versus the tiny burst, gives you more mana, which means more damage. Like, it's so good.
It is very good, and on top of that, because there's like easy ways to trigger that Eternal Shroud damage, like you said, like the Tiny Burst or the Grimmer Inkswell or Stroke of Fate, right?
DP,
there's a lot of uncontrollable damage.
Yeah, it's really good.
And I like that because, like you said, Bloodstone, I think this is the only hero that takes advantage of it in the game. And it got heavy buffs. It's just that I can't think of any other hero that can really utilize the spell Lifesteal as effectively as a Lesh. Maybe Quap. That's the only two.
You know, that's a really darn good point and an interesting point of conversation. That's really quite a good point.
Usually, those are the items, by the way, in Dota, like, if you actually look at the history, that get overtuned. Like, items that are only good on one or two heroes, and they've always been good on those two heroes, but they're not widely spread because only those heroes can use them. Meteor Hammer OD is another good example. And eventually the item gets overtuned to hell, and then that hero just starts being meta for the item alone. At you, being chased down, Sacred will get the skill. He left his Ember behind, but I think he knows Matthew will be fine here. Oh, they even put a Tinker Ward just to hunt down Kotaro? I don't know if they can kill him, though.
Quick update. Exo is popped down bottom in the midst of all this. So even if Kotaro, he's just creating a little bit of space right now for the DP push to continue. Pakaz is still back here. He's got Morbid Mask, so he feels confident enough. But Sladin's behind the tower. Level 2 Avatos is not going to be enough for a kill here, as there's going to be the Searing Chains. Pakaz nuked the creep to make sure that they could get it. As in comes the Rolling Thunder. Good rotation in, actually. Is going to surprise Matthew at the very least, who will fall. Dark Mago is now here to party, as is Sacred. The entire Thunder lineup is now here to party. Both supports are dead, so Mago trying to see what he can get. Even with the buffs to Lightning Storm, does not have enough there for the kill to Draken. But Sladin here is going to be caught and killed off. Sacred there with the kill credits. They cancel the TP in there by the Grimstrokes. It seems like Thunder will be able to get out of this one for free.
I think there we did see... I mean, Thunder did lose 2 supports right in the beginning of the fight, but we saw what I was talking about where... Oh my god.
Oz died to a neutral. It's Morbin time.
Yeah, it is. So, the Lesh mirroring rotation did honestly nothing. He relied on having to split Earth, the TP, which he missed, because it's really hard to get that stun off, and that's it. And once he missed that, it was like, I run at you and hope that you run away, but there's no kill potential.
I don't know what he died to, actually. Obviously neutrals.
Yeah, it was the Zap, right?
It was the Zap. He died to the Harpy Stormcraft for 105 damage.
I don't know what happened to the AI, dude. Like, I'm telling you, this feels like StarCraft 1 AI now on the neutrals. They're nonsensical. They just do a bunch of stuff that you don't really understand.
StarCraft 1?
Yeah, you ever played that game?
It's going to be like 3 people in the chat that get that reference.
Mate, there's like, if you clicked in the direction, the pathfinding was probably the most awful you ever seen. Day9 used to say that it was like a true general experience because you tell your soldiers, go there, and the soldiers are such idiots, they don't know how to get there. And that's what a general really faces, whatever that means.
I mean, I believe you. In trouble and likely dead is just Weaver, although no, he gets off the time-lapse. I'm not sure what they tossed. What?
They tossed Weaver.
I guess he must have been in place. That was so weird, but he time-lapsed.
He time-lapsed, and they tossed him after the time-lapse.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah. Searing Chains, Sladin, in trouble. Oh, they actually tossed over Matthew to him. Sebas wants the skill. Might have to settle for Dark Mago instead, but that's a great kill for him. But Sebas missed the bonk.
Dark Mago's like, it's okay, I'll give you a chance. Just kidding.
He still has the Pulse Nova activated. There's the Chrono committed for this. Great Chrono, actually, by Minos. And they're able to set this kill against Matthew as well, who's been disarmed, now killed. Phantom, lost his ultimate, has the Euphonic Shield and 10 Magic Wand charges. How far will they commit for this? It's really not worth it any further. Just take the tower. Phantom will live.
Yeah. It's a troubling sign right there, right? That's a huge fight for the Faceless Void to show up to, especially with his Mask of Madness. Seems like he's going into the Maelstrom next. Yes, a farming item for sure, but also does give him a lot of kill threat along with max time lock inside of his Chronospheres whenever he has that available. So he doesn't really need the +1 in these Chronos. Even so, Sebas with plenty of damage now, especially with Diffusal Blade about to be completed. Just needs like another creep wave, and he's got that item online. It's troubling here. I was expecting this Morph and Lesh, sorry, not Morph, make that Weaver and Lesh to make a little bit of more space early. Maybe this kill here is going to be the start of things to go favorably here for Thunder, as they easily have enough damage for the DP. But slightly troublesome signs there. Because as you can see, I mean, Pakas is just not ready to fight. He can barely take on the small camps.
Yeah, those Harpies really pack a punch. I mean, Pakas is still leading net worth, though, so I don't think you're too bothered by this. And the fights they're taking are still benefiting Thunder Awaken. They're still taking better net worth overall. You have Vessel on Weaver and a really good timing, honestly. You have Lesh with the Hood of Defiance, soon to be that Voodoo Mask. And he is going to go, sorry, that Eternal Shroud. And he's soon going to be finishing the Bloodstone as well. That's the second item. So straight, no Yols, nothing like that. He's just going to be this walking, damaging tank, I suppose, who never dies. It is a difficult game to run this kind of Lesh, though. I feel like Pango can really punish this Lesh. But we'll see how this works out. Lesh. Oh, we talked about the tank. Sebas gets stopped. No Rolling Thunder for you. Goodbye to Sebas. Draken. We do have the body blocks by Shukuch, by the Weaver, sorry. Tempest available. Magic Wand first. There we go. Timeless gets off. No need to use the Magic Wand, and Draken is dead. 2 cores down now in favor of Thunder Awaken. Third support will be given here, a freebie. And this is the Thunder Awaken we know and love, Richie. They bunch up, they attack whatever's in sight. They know what to play.
And then they get the objective, in that order.
Yeah. No, but this is because they understand, like, again, their macro game understanding is so high that they understand this is the moment where the enemy team just can't fight them, right? As long as Chrono's down, there's no way the enemy team beats them. Then the Mago commits suicide, this is tradition in Thunder Awaken's drafts.
Oh, he's down to the low ground now.
Oh,
that might save him.
Oh, they put him up to the high ground? Mago, don't go close to the wall. Okay, the wall's dangerous, Mago. He actually avoided him. Look at Mago. Yo, Jogo Bonito here from Mago, avoiding the Pangolier. As Matthew goes for Sebastille. There's the more Pakas? Pakas turns into the tiny Alpha, tossing Sebas to his death. Slamming hit by the Vessel. Can't live this either. He's punished. And Draken is forced to retreat despite his exorcism. He doesn't want to get killed here by the tiny turned into his friend. Sorry, that Morphling turned into his tiny friend.
A false friend! He's back!
People are not going to get that unless they follow the whole day of Dota.
No one's going to get that unless you have had to suffer through our voices all day. And if you have, you probably muted us. But a great fight there for Thunder. And the key difference maker is that Tempest do not have the ability for Kotaro to join the fight, mostly because he doesn't have Chrono towards the start of that engagement. And he was so bloody close here for Maelstrom. So he wants to make sure that he's got that item online. Now he's going to be much more willing to join the fights. The bad news there for Thunder is they still don't actually end up getting that tier 1 tower. But Tempest not exactly in a position to fight either. Rolling Thunder on cooldown, it'll be up shortly. But the big spell there utilized was Exo. So Draken not going to have the highest of impacts in this next team fight, which does kind of stagger this ideal Chrono timing. I do think you want to look for one with Maelstrom and the bonus damage you'd get from Swashbuckle and Diffusal Blade. As Matthew found out, poor guy, he remnanted immediately into Swashbuckle Diffusal and lost all of his health and mana. That really sucked for him.
I want to say, though, I think if you are Tempest right now, and you're looking to the replay, you're like, I want to learn to play macro like Thunder. They have a really good macro game. And then you just watch Dark Malo and you go, I can never tell if this guy is like about to feed or about to make the play of his life. And I think it's a super big strength for Thunder Awaken, but you just can't read him. That play, I thought he was actually going to feed near the tower. And then his team is there to back him up. They were completely ready. And you have to consider like every single cooldown, if Thunder understands this, if they are actually going to trust Dark Malo. I don't think that Malo thinks about any of these things. It's just Matthew telling the team, yes, save him, or no, let him die.
Well, I mean, and to his credit, it was also good positioning by Mago, right? He does create a little bit of his own luck there. Yes, his team knows how he plays, but he does eventually get on the ball there and starts juking. And speaking of the ball, the Rolling Thunder itself, Sebas is going to get out of this one. It could have been slightly dangerous, right? Searing Chains into a Split Earth is about disastrous for him.
Mate, like Mago is like a mid lane Schofield, right? It's like he's really good mechanically, and he just wastes a bunch of time for the enemy team. And because like you don't even know if his understanding of the macro game is like next level or just a level below, but because he's such a good player, he gets away with it very often. Very similar to Schofield, and he defines his style like that.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true.
He said, "You know what's funny? What's funny?"
It's funny, my clown.
You just said, "You know what's funny?"
What is it? Schofield also love the melee heroes, right?
Yeah, but like Mago, does he? No, Pat
yeah.
Rider.
Honka, Ember,
is not melee though.
Tiny. Okay, what he plays one ranged hero, therefore he does not like melees.
TA,
You're
Flash,
right.
Tinker.
My bad. Whoops.
That's 4, mate. Oh, Chrono. That's a fantastic Chrono. With Exo, only level 1, but it should still work out. Yep, that's gonna be a dead sacred. SM Panda flying to make sure he can't save his teammates. A silence the Lash like Mago is trying to divide and conquer. And by conquer, I mean just survive. Divide and survive did not work out though. The 2 cores are still dead. At least the supports will make out of here alive because not engaging here either. What a Chrono.
Great Chrono. Yep. Thunder really grouping up for that one. And that's a paddling for them. They're going to lose their tier 1 tower to boot with the last duration of this Exo. That was an ambitious TP out from Saladin. I assume he thought he was going to get out of there. No such dice. He wasn't even TPing. I think he just got caught perhaps there by Matthew being advantageous with the max Searing Chains. They smoke now in SA. A 3v5 smoke with almost no HP here and no ultimate for Panda. But they have a feeling that someone's in their jungle, and they'd be correct about that. Quotado, he goes back for the bounty. The greed, is it good for him? We're going to have to see. Matthew, he assumed, he guesses incorrectly. Sacred as well now does have vision. The Swarm Beetles will connect. And it's going to be even more vision here being applied. They have Vessel charges on top, but most importantly, they've got the heroes, the numbers, and the kill. Mago is in the mid lane, though. Quite precariously positioned right now, but he's going to make it out alive. No problems there.
Yeah, he's way too tanky. He's almost got his Bloodstone finished. The choice to go Bloodstone before he finishes the Eternal Shroud is an interesting one, though. I really did think he's going to go for Eternal Shroud first.
Me too. Yeah, me too. By the way, I looked at the Dota buff for heroes that actually build Bloodstone. This is just, of course, in all of Dota 2, so not great statistics, but it does at least kind of let us know who's trying it, right?
Okay.
Can you guess what the any of the top 3 heroes are? Lesh is obviously number 1, but can you guess any of the other 2?
Are the top 3?
Yeah, of the top 3.
Zeus?
Of the top 5. No. Oh, that's okay. Of the top 5, yes.
Okay. Timbersaw?
Timbersaw is the second most, yeah. Oh, very good guess. Yeah. Yeah, because sorry, who'd you say?
Quap.
No, Quap is not. Where is she? She is below Sand King. Only 600 purchases this week.
That makes sense, actually. What's the third?
Storm Spirits, and then Bristleback is 4th.
Okay, I think the Storm is a meme. I don't know who's doing that. That's terrible. But I think people are just not reading the patch. That's why they're buying it. But it could be. Bristleback seems like a good idea. Yeah, that Storm Spirit seems like a troll, to be honest with you. Like, what is he lifestealing off of Overload? Why do you need the Bloodstone for that?
Yeah, right, because the active now doubles your spell lifesteal here, and, you know, reading this off because it is going to now become relevant for Dark Mago, especially as he looks for the stun on the Sebas. He's like, Matthew, Searing Chains him, what are you doing?
Oh no, he's actually getting away! Oh no! Oh wow, that's funny.
I mean, like, I know Matthew's like, brother, he's got Shard, I can't Searing Chains him, he's just going to roll up, but he just rolls up anyway. Like,
yeah, you might as well force it. I agree. Maybe they're trying to like get as much damage as possible. That was a pretty big meme.
That was hilarious.
Si la cucaracha tiene derecho a vivir, ¿por qué no Sebas? No, that was the phrase by Matthew.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I hope people also get that reference. A very, very good clip from Thunder, who still do not have a mascot. They still need one. They still need one.
Apparently, that voice line was a little bit too offensive, according to Val.
I mean, you know, the only unfortunate part there for Thunder is that Bruno speaks Spanish, so they probably just forwarded to those. Like, is this offensive? And Bruno's like, yeah, probably.
Depends on your idea of roaches, right? How much of an animal lover are you?
Exactly. But anyway, just back on what this Bloodstone's actually do, right? The active, because it's changed a couple times, not the most popular item, right? Even though Lash has been kind of seen a couple of times. Doubles your spell lifesteal for 6 seconds, does cost a little bit of your HP to activate, right? Still gives you 30% lifesteal, so it's 60% total lifesteal when you have it active. A little bit more now, right? Because of a Voodoo Mask. A second, anyway, that goes into the Eternal Shroud. So this is going to be pretty bonkers for Lash, especially if he gets like a Kaya online at some stage. Oh boy. He's going to be tough to kill if he gets that thing off.
Yeah, Eternal Shroud is about to be completed. That's going to be a pretty big deal here as well. Are we going to see... Oh, just straight axe for Panda.
Yeah. Oh, actually, this is... I wanted to talk about this because I think this is like completely busted on Panda. Or for Abba, right? Because it's not like he is making his old with the 15 talent, and eventually, if you can get up to the Holy Locket, it is 80% damage resistance essentially for your team when you have that ulti active. It's incredibly strong.
Yo, I get it, but like I was thinking he was gonna go for like the spell because there's so many silences, but I guess this is just the play.
Like a Lotus or something?
Spell, yeah, like Yols or even like his dispel. I guess is just running in and getting hit enough that he triggers that ultimate.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like that great of a Yule's game, unfortunately.
No, it's terrible.
Lotus is certainly an item that he could consider, as Matthew takes a death there to Draken. Yeah, that's an interesting question to ask him if you do actually end up interviewing, if Thunder wins, of course, right? But yeah, because why not Lotus? I certainly see a use for Lotus this game.
Oh yeah, if we get Panda, we'll see.
I
Last time we
suppose
got the coach.
The one thing that isn't nice about Lotus this game is that it doesn't save you from perhaps the hardest counter, which is Grimstroke's Phantom, right? Like, you just need to attack it. So, I don't know. Maybe that's the thought process.
Oh, Draken? Okay, this time he had the Yules ready. Really on point on the Yules timing, actually. Saved himself.
That's quite scary, though. He's got Scotty. Yeah, the tower that can't Yules, unfortunately. You cannot Wind Waker a tower. Valve, please fix.
That would... Oh, no, that's Repair Kit. I was going to say, that would be an interesting item. Invulnerability for towers.
No, it wouldn't. No, it would not.
That was a terrible meta.
Imagine the base race. Oh my god, the most hyped thing. Game 5 of TI Final. They Wind Waker the Ancients.
That actually sounds super hyped, dude. It's flying! It's flying! Argmago now going for more area magic damage. I guess that's just the build. Just build as much area magic damage as possible. The Shiva is an interesting idea. It's very good against DP, plus the Scotty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you want to further reduce this healing, which, I mean, if Vessel works and Scotty works on Faceless Void, I'd imagine the Shiva debuff also works on Time Walk? Question mark?
I mean, yeah,
right?
if it does work. I didn't know it worked in Time Walk, actually.
Yeah, I know for a fact Vessel does, 100%. I don't know if Scotty does, but I'm extrapolating from Vessel.
Yeah, Vessel does, they all work. That's how it works. Okay. I would hope.
I would hope, too. I mean, Valve is... You know, sometimes they drop their spaghetti on the floor with some of their games. But right now, Tempest, they're trying to drop some spaghetti on Dark Mago. We'll see if he can get off the Bloodstone active or the Eternal Shroud or the Essence Ring. The answer is yes to all three. And he has not died here in this fight, although he does need some backup. And it's perfect there. The time-lapse even gets him out of the Chronosphere. So in a rage, they have to kill at least the Weaver. BKB active now for Draken, who's got the level 2 Exo active, but Pekka's confident enough now to fight through this. And for good reason, he's winning this duel. TP's out here from Tempest in the meantime as they realize that they have lost the opportunity to get more than simply a Weaver out from this engagement. In fact, Sebas might be in for a spot of trouble as Matthew does give chase, but ultimately can't quite catch the Pango. That's a great fight for Thunder.
I think it is wild that Argmago, again, well-known Tinker Spammer, went from like this precise hero, you have to like get all the buttons at the right times, blink properly, to I just press all my items at the same time and win the fight, which is what just happened here. Yeah. Sebas is rolling up to try to push the creep wave. I don't know if that's going to work.
He's dead.
Yeah, Searing Chains this time, and Matthew will use them. There we go.
Yeah, he's dead this time.
I don't think that was the best lane cutting, all things considered, a Pango can do. Is roll-up really the best tool to lane cut?
I am not sure, to be honest.
No, the answer is no, sorry. It was a rhetorical question. It's definitely not.
Okay. Allen is also not going to be able to find a toss target thanks to the very fast Manta here at Pekka's, who gets lots of healing thanks to Panda.
Kotaro just walks over and gets the deny of the tower.
Usually, Usually you don't see pros deny their, buildings in high ground, but,
I mean, what else are you going to do, right? You can't
it
stop
was
the
going down. It was going down, yeah. Let's let them have fun.
I just think it's funny that they're like, what is Kotana going to do? He can't chrono us. He just attacks the tower.
It denies it. Alrighty.
Matthew could be in trouble. He has Yules, though, so he can gain some time. There's the Yules used. Down to the Ixol he goes, unfortunately.
Wow.
Slide of fist, and he avoids it. Matthew, a mid player at heart.
Yeah, I mean, at least trying to be, right? A budget one, anyway. And yeah, speaking of mid players, I would call Lesh like the bristleback of mid laners, right? Especially with like this tanky build. Just press all your buttons, man.
No, I agree. Bad in trouble. Oh, well, they hit him twice, so actually let him get all his HP back. I think he might still die, though. Time lapse sends him back with no HP.
Why?
Okay, what's the time for this? I'm going to ask him this question. 27:50.
Why?
How did you feel when Sacred condemned you to die?
I mean, like, why? You're not gonna fight around that. A weird play.
I mean, you might as well. He was gonna die no matter what, so you might as well do it more, make it more funny.
Yeah, but it puts the Weaver at risk, right? Or it puts everyone else at risk because then Weaver used time lapse to meme on the.
But imagine the morale of the team when Panda died that way. Imagine the laughs that.
Yeah, it was. I imagine Panda as well laughed. Yeah, he seems like a guy with a good sense of humor.
Yeah, Panda is the guy who's like the punching bag of the group, right? But everyone secretly loves him the most, right? That's Panda.
For sure. Yeah, no, for sure. That's kind of the vibe I got as well. And a good bunch of guys, right? It was just in jest. Oh, Panda, you're dead. Let me kill you again, right? Even another time lapse. Oh, this Lush build, though, is it's getting scary. Is there a way to, like, calculate what his spell lifesteal is at?
What, the Lush? It's just additive. It's like lifesteal. It's just additive. So it's like...
Okay. So, but then
50?
it's also amped by 80%. No, it's more than 50, right?
No, 50 is the base, right? Because spell lifesteal.
Oh, and then 100%. 100.
That's it.
108%, right? Total. With the Kaya.
No, just 50. What would be 108?
Well, because you double all your spell lifesteal, right, with the blood pack active.
Yeah.
So it's 50, so it's, right? It's base.
So to 100.
To 100, and then a Kaya.
Right.
Oh, which is even more. Spell life, 124%. Sorry.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I forgot about that one. That's an aspect of the Kaya I've actually never looked at before.
Oh, yeah. No, it's huge. It's instrumental to this build, right?
No, you're right.
I don't know if he wants to go for E-Blade because it feels like status resist. I mean, it's not that good of a status resist game against Chronosphere, I guess. So he'll probably skip it. But
the stats of Kai and Sanji are genuinely good, so I think either or is good.
That's what I mean, right? I could see him going E-Blade. That's a fantastic item. It gives you or a save or like a ruin Chronosphere kind of ability, right, for a Faceless Void. So I also see that aspect here of maybe just saving the Kaya and seeing how the game develops. But either way, I mean the spell lifesteal's through the roof.
Oh, we got Ags on Panda as well, I think, right? Yep.
Yeah, he farmed it up. Great spell, this item.
Next.
Does increase the duration. I'm not sure what it increases it to. Yeah, by a solid 3 seconds. My goodness, this spell. And again, once he does have Holy Locket online, and eventually he hits level 15, he is going to be negating a lot of this damage. It becomes quite ridiculous, really, how much healing you can do. Like you'll end up seeing Panda just like activating ulti on 100% HP and running into Chronospheres just so he can at least give healing to his cores.
I feel like as well that this is a good build to deal with silences as well because, again, ultimate doesn't get cancelled by it, and also the Holy Locket will always give you some heal, even when you've been silenced. So it's the other way of dealing with silences. You either dispel them, or you get a bunch of items that are useful despite them.
Yep.
As Plakas is being protected by these thousands of Split Earths.
I personally feel like healing is good in Dota, but it's not this good. Like, I do think that Tempest have lost an opportunity to potentially punish this Abba pick. I do want to get that out, because this is going to look ridiculous, but, like, I mean, it's a 30-minute Ags, and all he had was Tranquils all game. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It certainly looked better than I expected to. Okay. I'm going to hit the Aegis. That's not bad.
That's easy.
We do have Blink plus Time Lapse still on the Weaver if need be. Rolling Thunder won't catch him. There's the BKB just in case. The Abba is tanking this. There's the ultimate used, and now the damage is impossible. You're not going to kill anything here, especially with less activating the Bloodstone. Weaver just trying to run away from this Pango. And the most good. Avatos into the Chrono they go. Actually, that's gonna work out. Timeless are saved Darkmago. Darkmago could still die regardless, as he can't kill back enough. Oh, the Euphonic Shield, the Miscoil keeps him alive. Darkmago actually still alive. Nothing can kill him. Now he's killed too far. It's Panda Moo saving him twice. Oh, wow. Tempest just got destroyed by the amount of healing Panda could put out. That was insane.
I mean, yes, Panda, right? But also Spell Lifesteal the entire time is what puts Darkmago in that position. I mean, like, that's this build fully coming online, and I think that's honestly just game. Oh my god, I cannot believe that. 6,000 damage dealt. I mean, it's all Spell Lifesteal. It's all spell-based anyway by Lash, right? I mean, an auto-attack here and there, I guess. And he's stealing at least 50% of that the entire time. I mean, it's GG. It's unbelievable. Pakaz, by the way, the entire time as well, is outside of Chronosphere destroying the backlines. I mean, like, the game just fell apart here for Tempest, didn't it?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they just got destroyed because I would say is the better team. I think that they ran at them at the right times. They played correctly these team fights. Their spellcasting is incredible. Like, look at this. The time lapse just at the last second, right? They even get it with a bunch of damage. Exo was fully on Darkmago, and that gets saved by the Euphonic Shield plus the Miscoil. He didn't have to activate the Bloodstone, dude.
He didn't?
It's just Panda. Yeah, you didn't have the Bloodstone active. He activated at the beginning. Wow. It's really just Panda plus Darkmago spell lifesteal. That's ridiculous, man. Diabolic Kitty did help a lot, though. You can see a little buff when Diabolic Kitty got used, but still. It was just, like, the combination of heals for this Lesh. It reminds me so much of that game we saw where it was, what, Oracle Lesh, I think it was, in EU Division 2?
Yeah. I remember that game, actually, yeah. And he would, like, Lesh would just, like, tank, like, the enemy core for, like, 10 seconds, well, through the duration of False Promise, and Lesh would just come out with full HP.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out real quick, in the breakdowns tab, this Lesh healed for 12,146 is his total healing. 4,000 of which on the Bloodstone, 2,200 on the Eternal Shroud, 3K of the bottle, so, you know, like, whatever. But still, that's 6,000 HP, basically, in total, just off of Bloodstone, off of Spell Lifesteal, right? And that's the crux of this Lesh build. If you can kind of build a draft that allows the Lesh to stand out in front and kind of just, again, stand there, maybe a couple of extra, you know, spells here and there from the ABBA, making the crucial difference. A time lapse, certainly, right? Coming in clutch. This Lesh here with these items just looks absolutely unstoppable, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I feel like Winter was on point when he said about the AA pick or anything that dealt more damage. Grimstroke didn't really deal much damage in Chrono, and yet the sustained damage of the Exo, which is fine, but definitely not enough burst, so the healing became so much more impactful. We theorized they could have they crushed the ABBA enough. I don't think that was the case. I felt like he felt quite free, honestly. I didn't think he needed the spell the whole game. He was getting Euphonic Shields and Miscoils left, right, and center just with good positioning, so great job on Panda as well. And it did feel like they should have probably respected this strategy that Thunder likes to run a lot. They always run double, triple save on their lineups. Sometimes their cores even get saved. And I think that AAs or anything that can buy Vessel, can mitigate healing would have been a good idea for Tempest. They just didn't try to do any of that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's one of these nice... Or ban ABBA, yeah. And then that feels bad. You ban ABBA in 731. Like, what the heck? Who, like, one team plays ABBA? I agree. It's just like, it doesn't... I think they should do it as like a mental reset, but it just doesn't feel good. Like Thunder, they play these like drafts where they all cover each other like so well. There's like multiple point. It's not like, you know, you disrupt 1 point of this double save or triple save lineup and it all falls apart because like, okay, we stun Sacred, Panda's there, right? Panda's there, and then Panda gets the time ups off onto someone else. Like, it's so difficult to try and put this together, especially for how long Thunder have been playing together with this specific style. Maybe you do need to ban it. I think you've got a point there, actually. I think you've got a point. Maybe ban it.
Yeah. We will be now moving over to the panel to see what Rayura and Winter have to say about this game number 1. Thank you, Avo. Winter, I usually would harp on you for being wrong about your prediction. I will remind people that he was wrong with his prediction, but you were very on point with those last picks. You talked about the lack of damage in the Chrono, and I think it really, really showed as those Chronos kept getting canceled by either time-lapse or the Abaddon. In hindsight, would you like to see an AA perhaps as a better pick there?
Yeah, definitely would have been better with the Chrono than the Grimstroke. But on the other hand, I feel like the Grimstroke definitely has some, purpose in the game. Like the silence is really good against their heroes. But I felt like the real downfall was like I think the laning phase went a little too badly for them. The Weaver had like a 10-minute vessel or 9-minute vessel. That was like even before he got the axe, he was already a huge problem in the game. The Grimstroke, I think he got killed in the lane like twice or 3 times, which was pretty bad for his own game. And he was really struggling. And after that, I felt like the Pango made a couple of good rotations towards the off lane. Like he had a couple of good moves to secure the tower with the Chrono and the DP. But after that, there was this one move he made at the river that cost them a lot. He tried to fake the rune, and he died, and they lost the tower, and they lost the Roche. After that as well, that was like the big turning point of the game.
For you, right? We talked at the beginning how we felt like the Abba was very counter, the silences destroy him. But what did Panda do that was so good to be able to still have impact this game?
I think Thunder Awaken they are used to play these heroes, and Panda just mastering playing cover. Like we've seen him playing cover heroes since No Ping, and it really fits their play style. But I can agree with Seek. Like Abaddon kind of just destroyed the game too much, you know. He just got the eggs and the fights were impossible. I think it's a Panda's good job, you know. But I think Tempest is just lacking something.
Do you feel like as a team or as a draft?
The draft and as a team, something fights were kind of sloppy, you know, some mess here and there. And the last pick Green Stroke, I kind of like it, but as Winter said, they have no damage. Ancient Apparition would be way better.
No. With that into consideration, we're going to take a small break as we wait for game number 2. Tempest on the ropes, looking for that win against Thunder Awaken. Thunder Awaken looking to clean this with a 2-0. We'll see who gets to complete the desires as we take a small break and come back with Thunder Awaken versus Tempest in number 2.